Hello, everyone, to another episode of Volts and M's. I am joined here today with Leo and Arian. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we have a special episode today. We're going to name it Under the Hood, Diagnostics on the Batteries and Service Excellence. What are we going to be talking about today is how do we take part with customer support and how do we help our technicians into diagnosing the batteries and how we help them out through the whole process. First, Leo, I want to talk about your background a little bit. What's your experience into customers and the being a customer representative?
So I've been in the customer, support for about 7 to 10 years. I have a good experience dealing with people, helping out with their problems, walking them through to get the best solution, for whatever issue they got going on.
Okay, and Arian, I know that you also have mentioned before you do have some experience in this field.
Yeah.
And the first question that we're going to enter this episode in is, as a customer service representative, before you start a phone call, what is the first things that you keep in mind before you starting this process?
One of the first things before I answer the call with a customer, I just prepare the notes for everything that I need to get through. I know that they are on a tight schedule, so I try to make sure the questions that I ask are more efficient and get to the point right away for them, just so we can get their issues all taken care of as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we? I was gonna say once we start this process of making the phone call, do we have some sort of information that we keep in mind just so we're clear and we're obviously, as you said, these technicians are on a tight schedule, right? So how do we make sure that we're clear and we're direct and we're cutting off unnecessary, waste of time?
Yeah. Well, as Leo mentioned, obviously, once we answer the call, there are few questions that we always ask, no matter what. Which one of our tools they're using, what are they calling about,
Okay.
what application they're working with, 12-volt EV, the make, model, and year of the vehicle, and what's the issue that they're calling about. So.
Okay. So, I would assume that all these questions kind of like prepare you for the upcoming
it tells us a lot.
So so you know in what area to remain and what's the follow-up questions.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So as we said, we're trying to respect their time and workflow, but oftentimes we do we do have these phone calls with technicians because they're frustrated.
Yeah.
They have all these jobs they're trying to finish, and then they're short-tempered or they don't give you enough information because, as we said, they're into that emotion that they're just trying to get it done. So they're trying to get the help as fast as they can. So how do you process this, and how do you try to calm them down, or how do we get on the same page to start and work it out?
Yeah, it is unfortunate that, sometimes we have to deal with customers that are frustrated, and for good reasons. I call those for good reasons because, like you mentioned, they are on tight schedule and they need to get the test done and get the car out of the shop or, whatever the case may be. However, at the same time, it goes hand in hand that the information that we require as well, it must be provided to us. And it's very necessary for us to actually do our job over the phone to be able to answer their questions. For example, if they're calling in about because they're not getting a correct job results.
Okay.
Because the scenario could be that they were not connected properly on the battery, right? Us over the phone, we have to ask those questions.
Right. So I was going to say, how do we diagnose the problem, let's say? So how do we start diagnosing that, not the problem of the test, but the problem that where we're seeing the test not being done properly, or how do we start? Like, what's the first question?
Yeah. Our thumb rule, and Leo here can elaborate a little bit more as well. But one thing that it's a thumb rule with us is that we take it from the top. And what I mean by that is that we forget everything they called about. We only focus on their main concern. And basically, we just take it from the top. We restart the job. We basically instruct them what to do, disconnect everything if they're connected, and then just start over. Start over on exactly what we're saying.
Okay.
Okay. So from there on, I know exactly what he's doing, and basically we go from there.
I would assume that you might have some instances that they're not gonna. Okay, so if I'm doing this test, right, and I'm telling you on the phone, it's just not working.
Yeah.
Okay, or it's not giving me the right results, and then
Which majority of the calls are like that.
right. So,
So-
you're gonna say, well, you're on the phone. On the other hand, you're gonna be like, well, let's just run the test again, and I'm like, well, I run this test already 5 times.
Yeah.
So what makes you think that it's gonna be different this time?
Well, then with that, I'll give you an example
Okay.
of one of the phone calls that could be. A technician can call and using one of our tools saying that I'm not getting the proper voltage when I connect. And I have the Hioki, for example, connected to it, and it's showing me 12.4 volts, right, on the battery. Well, with this tool, they're actually measuring directly on the battery terminals. With our tool, they're actually connected on the jump start posts.
Okay.
Okay, that's the difference. So we're basically measuring with the resistance of the cables all the way to the battery
Okay.
when they're actually in fact connected directly to the battery with the Oki. So we take it from there. We basically ask them the same thing. Please connect our clamps directly to the battery terminal so we can actually get the same readings as the other tool.
Right. So to perform the same
Correct.
Same elements in a let's just say it's in an experiment, so
Yeah,
you can get the same results.
exactly.
If you're getting different results, that means there's something wrong.
Exactly. What other, for example, instance that you've experienced?
Because
other
I
than-
would say even with the questions, once you start diagnosing the problem, it matters also where you're diagnosing, what type of battery, or where the battery is located.
Yeah.
So, right, there's a lot more elements to it. It's not as simple
Just plug
because
and play, yeah.
it's. I've been a customer myself, so when you're frustrated and you call, you're thinking that your problem is a universal problem,
Yeah.
right? You're thinking that, oh, this must be happening other times too, so they should know the answer right away. They should know what's wrong with my situation in hand. But that's not always the case, right?
Yeah.
Every situation is different because depending, again, what type of battery you're diagnosing, what vehicle it is, where is the battery located, are you hooked up properly, are the clamps put properly on the battery. So what's some question, let's say, that you make sure that they're doing everything properly?
So from when a customer calls stating about the issue, as Ariane mentioned, we take it from the top. We ask what tool, we ask the battery information, what they're working on, what vehicle they're working on. Most important is how they place their clamps on the battery.
Okay.
If they are directly on the posts or on a distribution box or on the jump start post. Depending on where they're connected with those clamps could impact the test tremendously. Sometimes it won't even give you the answers that the technician is looking for, hence why they call most of the time.
Okay.
So from there, we run it through on the phone with the technicians. We put ourselves in their shoes. You know, let us know how you're connecting the clamps. Connect them directly to the battery post if they're not already on there. From there, we check if we're reading the same voltage as a different tool.
Right, because I was going to say, let's say he's saying, I'm not reading voltage.
Right.
And you're like, well, are you properly hooked?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, yeah, it's done properly. It's good. I see it, you know. But, again, sometimes you have to see yourself to okay, it is actually done properly or...
One of the main points, if I may say that, especially nowadays with these new vehicles, that the issue that we're actually running into, which to the technician, they seem like they're connected properly. For example, if you pop the hood and you look at the battery, they have all these wires connected to the battery, sometimes with the distribution box on top of the battery. To them, they are connected directly. To us, they're still not connected directly to the battery poles because the battery poles are indeed hidden by this distribution box.
Okay.
So we also ask the question, is the battery still in vehicle, especially if we recognize that it's one of these new cars, right? Or is it outside the vehicle? If it's outside the vehicle, we then can proceed just obviously being connected directly to the battery poles. But if it is in vehicle, we ask, is everything been disconnected from the battery? Is the battery completely exposed? More often than not, they tell us, no, I'm just connected on the wires that, from the distribution box.
Okay.
That will actually tamper with the results. And the reason why I say that is because we've had a lot of customers, it was a known good battery, but the tool was failing it. That vehicle, for example, also had a lot of load being put on constantly to the battery as we were testing it.
Okay.
Because had the doors open, maybe the radio on, the lights are on the vehicle.
Because yes, I was gonna extend on this because we might have some phone calls that are saying, "Oh, I've had the battery charger into the battery for hours; it's not charging."
Yeah.
It's also important to take the diagnostic of a battery step by step, which means the first thing is to run a diagnostic test, right? Do technicians usually skip that step? What's some instances?
Well, that's one of our main questions. What are you doing?
Okay.
Are you running diagnostics, or are you simply just trying to charge the battery? Okay. Obviously, if they're running diagnostics, we know that through our diagnostic procedures, there's many steps, such as the load testing and reserve capacity and so on and so on. Pre-charge. Well, if they're constantly putting loads to this battery, the pre-charge is going to take longer than usual. And also it might fail on the load test because now you're putting double load on the battery.
Okay.
So that's why we want to make sure that the battery, as being diagnosed, is uninterrupted by anything else.
Right. Okay. So yeah, it makes sense. So that's why we need to know what's the origin or what's the main purpose of them working on the battery, and what is the first thing that they're doing.
Yep.
And if it's done properly. Okay. Next question is, again, frustration is normal, if it comes to the customer, because at the end of the day, he's just trying to get the jobs done. He's just trying to get the batteries, rolling, because he has a multi-task.
And we try to wear their shoes. So.
And then, obviously, you have to be a little bit careful with the words, that you don't discourage them, but you try to help them instead.
Yep.
For example, answers like, it just doesn't work that way, or no, you're doing incorrectly. Maybe it's better if you use.
Let's start over.
Yeah. That's one. Or let's double check.
I see your point.
Okay.
But let's just do it another way.
I understand, but why don't we try a different approach to this?
Yep.
So it might be helpful to him to also kind of like give him more. Power into what he's doing. Is like, okay, maybe this other way it will work. Let's double check on the results. Let's double check on everything that you have done so far, right? Mm-hmm. Those might be very important things, because at the end of the day, what's important on the phone call is to resolve the issue, resolve the problem, and everybody to be happy, right?
Of course. And then on top of that, also once we finish helping them and they're satisfied, we also tend to send them information for future, for them to have something to rely on, such as videos, brochures, so on and so forth. Even tomorrow, if they have another question, they can fall on those videos that we shared with them, and they can find the answer within those videos.
Sometimes looking at the test, looking at how somebody does it, it helps you a lot more than just
going in
assuming that this is how it's done, or just looking and reading instructions.
And the good thing that we have is that we have so many videos with so many different vehicles, so they can actually find a video with the vehicle they're actually working on to actually relate to that.
That happens with me. Like if I'm doing something on my car, I just search for the exact type of the vehicle, and I found videos that are instructional, that are just easy as that.
Exactly.
You just follow the same thing. Okay, and one more thing. If it becomes beyond the point that you cannot help them anymore through the phone, because, again, there's only as much as you can do through the phone or even emails. if there's a need to bring in their unit to get a better look at it yourself or professionally looked at, how is the process? Is it like a simple process? Do we try to the turnaround time of the products? How does the whole thing work?
Yeah, so that's actually we make it as easy as possible on the customer's end. If the tool is still under warranty, we provide them a shipping label, have the tool sent in. We do a maximum of 3 to 4 day turnaround time with inspection, repairs if needed, and fully testing the unit before we ship it back out to the customer. As soon as we get the tool in, right away we open up their service ticket that we have on file. We duplicate exactly what they are experiencing on their end, making sure and verifying that it's actually what it came in for. From there, we do multiple testings. If parts need to be changed, we change the parts on the tool themselves, and just make it basically a brand new tool for them. So when they get it back, they have no issues whatsoever with it, and they can continue going on with their jobs.
And before we ship it, we tend to call them to let them know from what we found, our findings in the tool. If we were able to duplicate their issue, if we were not able to duplicate it. And as Leo mentioned, we have a bunch of tests that we do prior to shipping it back out to show as a result of proof. And we go from there.
And obviously the turnaround time is very fast because
72 hours
okay,
of being here under repair
okay,
status.
makes sense.
So,
I mean, yeah, because you have to go through many tests.
yeah, obviously 72 hours is our thumb rule. Have there been tools longer than that? Yes, for different reasons, for sometimes parts, sometimes we're not able to find or duplicate the customer's issue. We've talked to them on the phone. They were okay with us keeping it longer, for example. No, just keep it there until you actually find exactly what I was experiencing, because I don't want this tool back and it's doing the same thing. So sometimes we do FaceTime with them as well, just to kind of show
That
them,
helps.
just to kind of show this is what we're doing.
And obviously they're being instructed on how to ship this,
Yes.
especially if it comes, because we talked a lot about the 12-volt diagnostics, but what about the electric vehicle batteries products, which are a lot more important and I would assume a lot more expensive, so you have to be careful with these units in the packaging. So they need to be advised that the packaging needs to be correctly done, so the products don't get damaged.
Yeah,
so
for
they can
sure.
also
Yeah.
receive it the same way,
For
right?
sure.
Yeah, Leo can obviously elaborate more on that. But
So when we get ready to have a customer send in their tool, we send them an email with instructions along with their shipping labels of how to properly package whatever tool they are sending
So
in.
they have visuals basically.
They have visuals.
Okay.
They have step-by-step instructions how we expect the tool to arrive to our facility in the best packaged way possible, so it doesn't get damaged during transportation.
and more often than not, we book it for them. And like he said, we just
So
provide
everything
them a
is
label.
ready. It's set. They just
Yeah.
need to put the unit.
Yeah, because there's different rules when you ship in EV tools.
Okay.
So different instructions.
A lot more safety tips. Okay.
Yeah, you have to be more thorough. So
Okay.
we
Well-
try to help them as much as we can.
Yeah, that's the main goal, is to make sure customer stays happy, make it as very easy for them as possible for them to get the help that they need.
Okay. Well, we've talked a lot about how we try to work with the customers and how we proceed on helping them. Any last advices that go for either the customers or either the technician themselves, something that to keep in mind for all these processes?
One thing, be as truthful as possible whenever
Okay.
you're calling in for support.
Okay.
Make sure you're as thorough as possible in what you are doing, because we've had instances before where we would.
It's not fully the truth.
It's not fully the truth,
Okay.
or they exaggerate what they're
It doesn't.
going through.
It doesn't help anybody if you bend the truth. Basically, it doesn't help
exactly.
you. It doesn't help me.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
One thing that I want to say on this topic is I understand that they're already frustrated when they call us. But you already got to the point where you had to call support.
Right.
Be
So
patient with us.
At that point, what we're trying to do is help you, and that's why you called us. Because
Yeah.
you're
Be
requiring
patient
help,
with us. Don't get more frustrated. We're going to get to the bottom of it. Just follow our procedures as we're telling you on the phone. Don't expect to call us and we hear your issue and we give you the answer in 2 seconds. Sometimes we might have that answer in 2 seconds,
Right.
but also there's procedures that we have to follow, procedures that we have to go through in order to get good results.
Okay, well, perfect. Well, thank you so much for these advices and
Of course.
insights and tips on customer service representatives and how to help out the technicians as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Leo, and thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you for
us.
watching.
Yes. Thank you so much.